Hi, this is Ceema, and today I'm gonna teach you something that relates to communication. We're gonna talk about the words speak, talk, tell, and say, which is very confusing for people because they don't know what to use when communicating. But today I'm gonna help you understand the difference between these words. You can't use these words all the time for all sentences in the same way. So what is the difference? Let's talk about the first word, which happens to be talk. So, when do you use talk? You will use talk when you are engaging in a conversation. And that conversation can be a formal conversation or it can be an informal conversation, right? When I say formal conversation, it obviously means conversations in the office, at your work, obviously. But informal conversations are conversations with your family, your friends, your loved ones. So let's see how to use talk in an example. The doctors were talking about the patient's condition. Now, I'm using the word talking because it's a conversation. They're having a conversation. They're all sitting together and talking with each other. And in this case, obviously, it happens to be formal. They are in an office environment. They are in the hospital. Okay, so that's why we use talk. Or I could also say something like, talking with your spouse about life issues is a great way to have meaningful conversation. Now, again, when I'm saying talking with your spouse, I mean it's a conversation. When you're talking to your spouse, you are having a one-to-one conversation. You are discussing various issues like, what do we do with the children? How do we take care of our families? All those intimate issues are being discussed, and therefore it is a conversation, but in this case it happens to be an informal conversation. And that's how we use talk when we are relating it with conversations, which could be formal or informal. And just so that you know, I have ensured that there's a small snapshot of what we've learned on this side of the screen. Okay, so that's talk for you, a conversation which could be formal or informal. Now let's talk about the next word, which is say. When is say used? Say is used when you want to express three things. Thought. Thought means what I think in my mind. Maybe I haven't really said it, but it's a thought in my mind. Or an opinion. Opinion means what I feel. What I feel. It's just my opinion. Or a suggestion. Suggestion meaning I'm telling someone, I'm giving someone advice. Okay, so let's see how we can use each of them. The first is, he said, I'm using the word say over here, that it might take me 2 months to lose 10 kgs. Now, this was probably his thought or his opinion, okay? Maybe not an expert opinion, but it was definitely something that he thought I should really do, okay? So he said that it might take me 2 months to lose 10 kgs. I can't say he talked that it might be. I can't use the word talk here, can I? Right? So you simply say he said that it might take me 2 months to lose weight. Or I could say something like, my CA said that I should file my tax returns ASAP, as soon as possible. Now, again, I use the word said. Why? Because now I am talking about an opinion or a suggestion. You know, my CA is a guy who will help me save money on tax, right? So it is his opinion, it is his suggestion that I file my tax returns immediately. Over here again, I cannot say that the CA talked that I should file my tax returns. Well, that wouldn't make sense, right? So I again use the word say to talk about thoughts or opinions. And then we have another expression, we have another sentence, another example sentence, where I say, he said that it's best if I visit my parents. Now, I'm again using the word said, and this kind of seems like a suggestion to me because, he's suggesting that why don't you meet your parents? So I will use the word said because, again, that happens to be an expression of a suggestion. Okay, so let me help you understand all of this by again putting that on this side of the screen. It's a snapshot of what we've just learned, which is the use of the word say, where you are talking about thoughts opinions and suggestions. Okay, we'll move on to the next word now, which is tell. Now, how do we use tell and when do we use tell? We use it when we want to give instructions or information, when you are giving instructions to people that you feel they should follow. Okay, so you must tell her to be careful with her investments. You must tell her. Now, why do I say you must tell her? Because you are giving information. Probably this information is required right now because the stock market is not doing great, so you have to be very careful, and therefore you want to tell her, right? Okay, so that's how you use tell. You can also use another example by saying, did you tell her about the new software update we received? This is actually a question mark, okay? So it's a question. Did you tell her? Did you tell her, meaning did you inform her? Did you instruct her about the new software information, the software update that we received? Now over here, you possibly cannot say you must say her. You know, a lot of people use sentences like, I said her. No, you told her to do something. You did not say her. You just told her to do something. You gave her instructions or information. Okay, so again, I'm going to have this snapshot of what we've just learned on this side of the screen. So tell, just to review, is to use it when you're talking about instructions and information. Okay, now let's go to the next word, which is speak. When do we use speak? We use it to refer to the ability to speak a language. So language, any language, English, Espanol, anything, or conversations. Okay, now if you notice, in a sentence you can say, I can speak in English and Spanish quite well. Okay, now I cannot say I can say in English. That's wrong English, right? Because a lot of people say, you know what, I can say in English very well. No, you can speak in English very well. Okay, or when you're using it as far as conversations go, you can say, we need to speak with our team about using the new printer carefully. Why do we say speak? Because here again, we are referring to conversations, which means we are going to have a conversation with our team about using the new printer properly or carefully, because it's a new printer and you want to make sure that you don't have a problem, right, when you're using it. So you will use the word speak. Okay, so that was all about speak. So let me put all of this on this side of the screen so that you get a better perspective. So we've understood the difference between the four, right? But now there is one similarity between two words. Can you figure it out? Take your time. Okay, so let me help you understand. The similarity between two words out of these four words happens to be with talk and with speak. Now you could use both of these quite interchangeably. So you could say something like, the doctors are talking about a patient, or the doctors are speaking about a patient. Why? Because we are referring to a conversation that we are having with people, which could be formal or informal. But in the case of say or tell, well, they're quite different, and the difference is very clear, right? So this is the lesson that is going to help you really understand how to use each of these words differently, because they are different and you have to use them in the right way. Okay, so I'll be back with some more lessons, but in the meantime, keep talking, keep practicing, and keep learning the right way to use them. I'll be back with some more lessons. Until then, this is me saying, keep practicing.